Okay, I want to welcome Bill Roberts. Here we're at the ACSM meetings in New Orleans, and we're doing a video series of distinguished leaders in sports medicine and exercise science. You're not supposed to smile because you are one.
Well.
And so anyhow, thanks for coming, Bill, to
My
talk
pleasure.
to us. And I just wanted to start a little bit, if you would just tell us where you're at now, what you're doing, where your practice is, what do you do during the year, patients, teams, whatever may
Sure.
be.
Well, I'm currently at the University of Minnesota in the Department of Family Medicine. I was just promoted to professor this month, so it's been kind of exciting.
Yeah.
I am teaching half-time, or 40% time, seeing patients 40%, and then pursuing administrative and research in my other 20% of supported time. On the side, I'm the medical director for Twin Cities Marathon, chair of the Sports Medicine Advisory Committee for the Minnesota State High School League, and I work with the University of Minnesota teams. I work with Team USA Minnesota, which is the post-college distance running development team, and I cover events, mostly tournaments for the Minnesota State High School League as a sideline physician.
I was going to say, what do you do in your spare time? And you don't, I don't think you have any.
In my spare time, I race on inline skates, Nordic ski, kayak, bike a bit.
And you have a family, too.
I have a family. I have 3 daughters. Youngest just graduated from college last Saturday from Bowdoin in Maine.
Oh, I know this school.
My oldest daughter, one of my twins, graduated from medical school at the beginning of the month. And she's getting married next week, so this is a busy time for me.
A crisis time.
Yeah, crisis. And my my other twin is a doctorate in physical therapy and is practicing for a year now.
Fantastic. Well, you must be very proud of that. I mean,
Very proud of that, yeah.
What a family. Well, now you're working with the team. What are they? The Gophers?
The Gophers, yes.
Yeah. So you work with them too, and.
Peripherally. I don't have as much responsibility as some of the other sports medicine physicians, but I'm in the pool of physicians who helps with the teams.
And you're in family medicine, right?
Family medicine, correct.
Okay. Now, at our university, it's orthopedics and sports medicine that's doing the team physician stuff. Is there a mixture at Minnesota?
There's a mixture. It's about half orthopedic surgery, half primary care. All of us that are working with the teams have the subspecialty in sports medicine also.
Yeah.
So we're all family medicine, sports medicine.
Okay. Let's just drop back in time a little bit. Sort of your earlier career, were you active in sports yourself or not? Several people said no, and a lot of other people I talked to today said, yeah, that I was really passionate about sports. And
I was active, but never very good. I started playing hockey when I was 8.
So are you from Minnesota?
I'm from Minnesota originally. I started ice skating when I was 4. Probably started running when I was 9 or 10 in track and field. As a real youngster, my father liked basketball, so I played some basketball, but hockey took over for that. I really loved hockey. I participated in sports through youth leagues and through the high school. I got cut off the hockey team as a junior in high school, which was very devastating.
That was a traumatic
But
thing, sure.
I still had track and cross country, and I started downhill skiing at that time, which has become kind of a lifelong activity for me. And then when I couldn't afford to downhill ski in college, I started cross country skiing. So those are sort of my sports activities.
And where did you go to undergrad?
Did my undergraduate training at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. Started out in engineering and then got the biology bug and switched my major to biology and chemistry and psychology.
And then where did you go to med school?
And I matriculated at the University of Minnesota Medical School right after I graduated from college. So that was 1974 that I started, finished in 78 at the medical school there. Then I went on and did my residency at the University of Minnesota Family Practice Group at what was then called Smiley's Point Clinic, which was affiliated with 2 private hospitals, which have since merged and moved into other areas. And it was while I was a resident that actually as a medical student, I enjoyed sports medicine, but there really wasn't much there. I used to go and visit with Dr. Nagabads, who was the doctor for the Minnesota Gophers hockey team.
Oh.
Kind of one of those early sports medicine guys.
Mm-hmm.
As a resident, I wanted to do more in sports medicine, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I did my master's in family medicine and community health, which was the faculty development program. And you needed a minor area of study, so I thought, well, this is the opportunity to do that.
I
And
see.
that's actually how I got involved with the college, is that I took an applied physiology course with one of in the physiology, exercise physiology group at the University of Minnesota.
Now, this is during your residency?
During my residency.
And you were also doing a master's degree, too?
Right, I
I
was doing a master's
Okay.
degree. So
Okay.
I did that with Bob Surfas, who was a college member. And he said, you know, you really need to join this organization. So I joined the local chapter as a resident, and then in 1982, the annual meeting was in Minneapolis.
I'll be darned.
So I went to that meeting, and I walked in the door, and I said, this is home.
You know, almost everyone that sat in this chair said the same. They remembered that so vividly.
It was like, you know, it's the first meeting I'd been to where, you know, people were going running and talking about exercise and talking about sports, and it was very invigorating and very exciting.
And that was 82?
That was 1982, and I haven't missed a meeting since. I missed one half of one day because my twin daughters graduated from high school the night before, and I couldn't get here quick enough.
Wow.
So that was my introduction to the college, was through Dr. Surfas, who has been a longtime mentor and friend. And once I started coming here, I realized that this was my training ground. There were no fellowships in primary care at that time.
Okay.
And here's where I met people who were interested in what I was doing in family medicine and internal medicine and cardiology and orthopedic surgery. And through that network met many of the scientists who were writing the work that I was quoting in talks and papers. And so for me, it was kind of a find. It's like kind of finding gold. So that's how I kind of got involved. I left my residency and went into private practice, and I had intended to practice for about 5 years and then go back onto a faculty in family medicine, but I was having too much fun.
Was this also in Minnesota?
It was in Minnesota, White Bear Lake, Minnesota, which is just north of St. Paul.
Okay.
And I was in practice for 22 years and then left practice and joined the faculty at the University of Minnesota in 2003. So 1981 to 2003.
And you're promoted already to full professor?
Well,
that seems fast.
Well, while I was in private practice, I was doing research and writing and speaking and doing a lot of faculty type things to the point where it didn't take long to call the resume to the point where I could advance, and I was taken on as an associate professor, so it made it easier to move the next step. Yeah. And apparently they thought I was qualified because I made it in 3 years. So.
Yeah, that's excellent.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I bet you enjoy the teaching part of it immensely.
Well, I really enjoy the teaching. I learn so much from the residents every day, just because they challenge me with new problems and new ideas. And then I feel like with the background I've had, seeing patients, that I can help them with their efficiency and their thought process and having, teaching them, that there's a forest with the trees.
Right.
And common things are common, but you still have to look for the other things. And then there's the training in musculoskeletal medicine and family medicine hasn't been great, and I'm trying to work on getting people excited about the parts that are furthest away from the heart. The foot, and the ankle, and the hand, and the elbow, and the knee, and what they can do, very simply in their family medicine practice to make the evaluation and treatment simple and not treat it as a black box.
For the formal training in sports medicine, what's it called? Did you take a sub part? What is that called?
Well, there's a certificate of added qualification
Yeah,
now.
that's that. Yeah,
that you can
CAQ.
CAQ.
Yeah. Did you do that or?
I sat for that in its first offering in 1993, and because there weren't fellowships when I came into practice, I was able to document my qualifications through the training I did here at the College of Sports Medicine, and the activities I've been a part of, to show that I'd been active in sports medicine, that I had a knowledge base in sports medicine that would allow me to sit, and I passed that. Then I helped write the next set of boards, and then I've repassed it, as we have to retake it every 10 years. So I'll be taking it again in 2013.
Did you use Doug's book, McCaig's book, as a
review?
Yeah, I guess that was one of the, somebody I talked to was telling me that was about all there was, sort of in a succinct one spot place to study.
At the time that I was sitting for the first boards, I was pretty actively teaching in the team physician course.
Oh, okay.
So it made it pretty easy to transition.
That would have been,
And using that as a background, that it was helpful. And between that and attending the ACSM meetings, the educational parts of that every year, I didn't use so much books as I used the journals and those experiences. For the recertification, I had edited a book that went into press just around the time that I resat for the board. So that was my review. 45 chapters in one book that I edited, and so that was a good review.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And now you're helping write that exam? Or?
I helped 1 year.
1 year. Okay. So they get a different team.
They get
each
different
year,
teams together each year. There's a core of people who kind of stay with it, and some of us who rotate in and out. So I've done both the writing and what they call the Angoffing procedure, where we look at the questions after they're written and say, this is one everybody should know. This is one that's hard. This is easy. We rate them. So they use that then to help try to make sure that the test is going to be representative of the knowledge.
I see. Okay. Well, all of a sudden you're president of ACSM. That's quite a jump from just starting out and working your way through.
That was quite an honor to be elected president by the membership. I couldn't say when I thought that I wanted to do this, but I knew that when I started with the college that I wanted to give back. So as soon as I became a fellow, I started volunteering for committees, and I had a chance to work in a lot of different committees. And
you were on the board, I'm sure, too.
I was on the board. I started out on the Constitution, Bylaws, and Operating Codes Committee, and then was asked to chair as we were transitioning into the time when we were writing the Uniform Operating Code and revamping and updating all the codes. And so I spent 10 years on that committee.
Oh, shit.
And that was, people would say, that's where they dump people. But I actually enjoyed it. I learned a lot about the college. I learned the about the operating codes and how the Constitution worked and the bylaws worked. And it was really a pretty good education for working into the administrative side of the college. And then I had the chance to go on the CME committee and did a stint there, and then came back on as chair a few years later, which was really a treat. I chaired the team physician course, then chaired the CME committee, and helped with the accreditation for the ACGME or ACCME to get us out of probation.
Is that the Association of Medical Colleges? I forgot what that
It's the
stands for.
American College of Continuing Medical Education.
Yeah, so and they have to certify the CME offerings.
They certify the CME offerings.
Yeah.
So when I started on that project, we were in probation, and we came out of probation, and then we got a 6-year
Well, I wonder why was ACSM on probation?
It was an issue of documentation more than anything, not an issue of quality.
Okay.
But we worked our documentation up, and now we're being reaccredited again, so we're going through that process, and I'm helping them peripherally with that effort also.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the sort of the working fun things that were leading up to being on the board, and then being a vice president, and then getting elected president and serving on the executive committee for 3 years, which was really a treat to work with that caliber of people for those 3 years, and work with Ed Howley and Larry Kinney and Carl Foster and Larry Durstein. And it's just it's been a highlight of my life.
Good group of people.
Yeah, it's when you surround yourself with really smart and bright people, you look better than you would otherwise.
Some of it rubs off.
Some of it rubs off. And those 4 people on either side of me really made my education and trip through the presidency easier and nice.
Well, the way it's set up, I think it's a great idea. Whoever came up with it is the transition. Your president-elect, your president, your past president. So it helps tie everything together.
Yeah, as I told Carl, as I gave him the gavel, is that I'm finally learning what I'm supposed to be doing. But the nice thing is that you tie it together with the executive committee. So, coming on as president-elect, you kind of move into the process. You learn it from people who have been there, and you've always had the support of the past presidents and the staff at the central office.
I was just going to bring that up. It's phenomenal.
When you look at Jim Whitehead and his staff, it's pretty hard to goof up too much. They really help you, and there's some spectacular people there who are doing work.
As an outsider starting to do research on the college a long time ago, before Jim Whitehead, it was just so amazing. It was a night and day change when he came on board, and it's just been getting better and better and better. If
you look at where we are now, financially, programmatically, administratively, staff-wise, from almost any perspective you can name, compared to 1990 when he came on, I've seen a tremendous amount of growth in the college at his tutelage.
Yes.
And I think he gets the best out of us as a volunteer force to keep us moving in the right direction, and provides that sort of continuity and historical perspective for those of us in the leadership positions as we move through to understand where the college has gone and where we're trying to go. So it's been a privilege to work with that staff also.
Yeah. Some of the staff have been here over 20 years too.
There are many that were here when I came on, and there are some that have come on since I started with the college, but who have been long-term people.
Yeah, Sue has been.
And Sue
Hilt's been almost 30 years, I think. She told me.
She was.
Mark's been around a long time.
Mark's been around a long time. Sue Hilt was kind of in a startup role as I came on, and worked with Patty Hartman for a while, and then Sue stepped on, and I've worked with her for so many years that it's hard to remember not working with her.
I know. Lori Tobin's been around.
Lori's been around, and so there's a lot of names that have been around a while.
Very, very good. Well, in the last couple minutes here, since you've been president and now we're moving on, and do you have any thoughts about sort of the future? Do you think ACSM's moving in the right directions, doing the right things?
I've seen ACSM transition for as an organization, and for me personally, when I got involved to take care of athletes, to improve athlete performance, to improve athlete care, and as the college has grown and as I've grown, I've transitioned from taking care of athletes to looking at every patient as an athlete, and looking at the public health aspects of what we're doing, and how can we activate the country, and how can we get people moving? How can we utilize the medical, the sort of the medicine aspects of exercises as a treatment because it's inexpensive and
Yep.
it's very, very effective. And we have all the horses, the Blairs and the Paffenbergers and the folks who have done that research that show that what we can offer can make a huge difference. And we can't afford not to do that for the healthcare dollar that we have in the United States. We can't have much more of the gross national product going to medicine when we could have such simple answers as exercising every day and eating a little bit less. So, I see us moving into policy arenas and trying to shape more of the health policy related to exercise. And I don't see us setting guidelines for practice care in the various fields of medicine, but what I do see is leading the way in the charge with exercise as medicine and exercise is medicine kind of initiative to try to keep the country healthy.
I was just talking to Bob Salas about this, and one of the things that I asked him, and I'll ask you since you're in a medical school, how do you think this can be integrated into the med school curriculum? I mean, it's so hard to crack. I know I'm at our university, getting anything into the curriculum is just almost impossible.
Yeah. Well, if I were the benign dictator of the school and could force on them the changes I would like to see, the first thing I would do is I would change the science teaching to exercise physiology in the first year. And then I would do the systems physiology later. But I think if we went into our training as physicians with a solid background in exercise physiology, that we could do so much more, and the power of exercise would be so much more obvious to us. I would also, look at every organ system and every disease process, be teaching how exercise affects and interacts with that disease process or organ system. We're starting a new initiative with Grand Rounds in family medicine to try to highlight the academic parts of family medicine, and I've been drafted to do the first one. And I wasn't drafted to represent my clinic, but to represent sports medicine within the department. And I chose to make the topic of this not ankle sprains or ruined knees or bad shoulders, but I titled it Exercise is Medicine.
Oh.
So I'm going to...
Have you done it yet, or is this coming
I'll be doing
up?
it June 13th, so it'll be the first one. And what I want to do, what I want to highlight is that to the students that will be at this, is that where we can go with exercise and where it should be, and try to emphasize to the medical school that this is what I think is important out of sports medicine for the country as a whole and for our students. So,
are you going to have a PowerPoint for that?
I will.
I might have to email you and see if you can send it to me.
I can send it to you.
Well, I'm trying to, here I am, a historian, trying to do the same kind of stuff at our medical school. And there's really not anyone there that I know that's championing these kinds of issues. Larry Rao was there in the physiology department, but he's retired. And, our dean is a rower. He's a very active exerciser, and I think would be interested. But
I think what we really need to do is we need to get the exercise science people out of the box and the physicians out of the box and put them together like we do here at the college. And that the beauty of this is the integration of all those areas. We were talking with a group of physicians today to see how we can improve our CME offering here at the annual meeting, and somebody brought up the issue of name tags, and said, well, gee, you can't tell who's who from the name tags, it just has their names. And I just smiled because that was the first thing I noticed.
Somebody
when
else
I came
told
here.
me that too. They didn't have any initials after their name.
I loved that because it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You were just a member of the college. And it didn't matter if you were a PhD or an MD or a PhD MD or whatever. You were a member, and you could talk to anybody about anything in the area, and everybody was excited by it. So I wouldn't put the initials on, to be honest with you. But I think we need to get that kind of mindset at our medical schools and universities, that we all have a lot to offer each other if we would just sort of drop the barriers and start doing that. So I'm hoping that this Grand Rounds will help that. I know that Bob Salas is really working hard to front the initiative in exercises medicine, and I think that will be successful. And that's where I see part of the college effort going. I don't think we'll ever lose our sports medicine route. That is, we really do have a chance to work with athletes and to promote athleticism and to promote performance. But we have transitioned as a college to a broader scope, and I think that's part of it, and that's part of what we'll see as it's in our mission, it's in our strategic plan, and I think we'll see that develop over the next decade.
And it's quite fortuitous that the new president of the AMA seems to be quite on board with a lot of
that
this.
helps, and it would have been nice to have kept the last Surgeon General, because he was very much on board.
He was great last year.
So,
I enjoyed him a lot.
I think as we see people who live the life, who value exercise as part of their lifestyle, moving into the positions of power across the United States, and we'll see a change, and it'll be slow and gradual, and it will take time. Unfortunately, the Surgeon General reports take decades to really infiltrate into the culture.
Look at the smoking one.
But how long it took smoking. But if we can get the Surgeon General's report on exercise and fitness moving into the culture, that's what we want to see.
Thanks so much, Bill.
Well, thank you.
That was wonderful.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.